Live.
All right, everybody. Thank you for coming to Tuesday Feels today with Ricardo Sturdivant. And we are going to go ahead and kick off with Josh Johnson, Ricardo, Jason, and I. And go ahead and bring us in, Ricardo.
Hey, good morning, everybody. How are we? Everybody doing good today? That was a question. I'm doing pretty good.
Doing very well.
Jason, thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's like that was like the high five, and you're like, no. I was just waving to everybody. Hello, how's it going? But yeah, no, man. Thank you, everyone, for joining in on another Tuesday Feels, another early morning. It's the weather's been stupid here. I'm getting a little chilly today, so we're gonna go Jedi mode today. Also, the 27th is right around the corner, and I'm super stoked about this Obi-Wan stuff that's coming out soon. There's my nerd moment for the day. I'm excited to be here today and talk about some things that are on my mind as far as relating our life to our drawing methods, our methods of drawing to applications in our life and things like that. Today we'll be talking a little bit about some negative and positive relationships and how I use those to make images, make pretty things that people can look at and kind of associate with and say, hey, that's actually a flower, or hey, that's actually a squirrel reading a newspaper, which is what I'm going to draw today. I'm going to draw a little squirrel sitting at a table of a flower and reading his newspaper today. I think that'll be fun since it's spring and it's spring is in the air, right? But yeah, I know that this weekend was a busy weekend for a lot of you guys. Hell City was this weekend. I did not get to attend this week, but hopefully there's next year. And I would look forward to meeting more of you guys in person. I know the last time that we did it at the Paradise BYOB, that was a blast. And I can't wait to hear about the shenanigans that went down this weekend. I know that Lauren was there with raw pigments and stuff, and I can't wait to hear a little bit more about that. I got the opportunity to hang out with those guys in Texas, with Lauren and George Lange down in Texas on his family. It was amazing. Such a good time, such an inspiring trip. And can't wait to hear what was going on in Hell City this week. Lauren, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'll probably chime in just a little while when things settle a little bit, because I just got back from Hell City last night. Yeah. I guess I could say this morning.
Man, dude, thank you so much for coming through.
It was one of the best show I've ever been to in my life, and I've been to well over 100 shows, and including his shows. It was incredible.
Wow, that's incredible. That's awesome to hear.
Yeah, looks I'll chime in a little while when things settle down.
Okay, cool. Thank you for all the help.
Yeah.
Allie, looks like Allie's joining us today. Good morning. How are you?
Hey, Ricardo, doing good. How about yourself?
Not too bad. Trying to stay warm here.
Trying to stay warm? Oh, it's hot here.
That's awesome. Where are you at
girl
again?
In the hoodie. Alabama.
Alabama, okay. It was warm here, but it's starting to get cold again. I don't know what the deal is. It just like drops a little bit from time to time, but later today it'll be better.
You're up in Illinois?
Illinois.
Okay.
Not so normal Illinois.
From Chicago, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. When did you move out?
So 1989, we left Chicago and went to Pittsburgh, and then somewhere in the early 2000s, I left Pittsburgh and came to Alabama.
Yeah, that's cool. That sounds about like me. Around that time, in '89, I think I was in New York City. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you were leaving the bigger city, and I was like moving into the bigger city.
Right.
Yeah.
Is where you are now a larger city, or is it like a smaller area?
It's not the smallest thing in the world, but it's not the biggest thing in the world either. It's kind of medium, I guess.
Okay.
It's a twin city. So whereas Bloomington Normal is like right next to each other. I live in Bloomington.
Okay.
And my shop was in Normal, but I just closed that one down recently, and now I'm working back in Bloomington again.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's cool. It's not too bad, you know what I mean? It's a nice place. Normal has Illinois State University and stuff like that, and Bloomington has State Farm. State Farm headquarters is here. So, and
Okay,
now
cool.
recently, I guess I didn't know about this, but apparently some girl from American Idol or something like that is from here too.
How about that?
So I know, right? What do you know? No big deal though.
Right?
But so, what are you working on today?
I think I am working on, okay, so last night's homework
Mm-hmm.
is a cover-up project.
Okay.
And let me see here if I can. Well, that would probably help anyway. Flip the camera. I can do this, I swear. Okay. So it's a cover-up project. And underneath this guy, we've got Gizmo sitting on a blue pillow. So little gremlin dude there.
Okay, that's cool.
And the goal was to create this cover up. Client wanted chrysanthemums, maybe lilies, some other additional flowers. Now, so my chrysanthemum, I know, had Jason riding in his chair. But it was totally dictated by where the cover up needed to go.
Okay.
So like I was taking some of these larger blooms here, and like where there's this brown, I turned the tip of that bloom over so that we could have that darker purple there, here. So that kind of dictated where all of that fell for me.
Yeah.
But as far as chrysanthemum, I don't think it actually qualifies as a chrysanthemum.
I mean, it's not far off.
Yeah.
It's got
definitely
the basis, but it's not there.
So here's one of the things I learned as far as chrysanthemums are concerned.
Yeah.
The trick to making them look like chrysanthemums is to keep each petal the same width.
Okay.
Okay. And they're all just very long and very skinny, and they all do kinds of curly loops and like different directions and stuff like that. So by going through and hold on, I think, yeah, Ricardo's spotlit. So
sorry. It's my ugly mug on there just going,
I think we're back. Yeah, we're back on gallery. Okay.
Okay, cool.
So
there we
like
go. That's better.
chrysanthemum, so like all the petals are like one long length, right?
Okay.
And then you've got some that go in all different types of directions, right? To create the flow. So like you'll have some that'll curl up this way, and then you'll have some that will curl over and twist. I feel like I'm doing yoga here or aerobics.
You're getting your stretches in, brother.
Yeah, 1 and 2 and 1 and no.
And get your body right.
So they literally just think of them as big arcs. Every single petal is big arcs that just kind of loop over and connect to each other. That's like one of the key secrets to drawing chrysanthemums. And where they loop over and connect back, that's where that top of the petal folds over.
Okay.
And I mean, there's different ways to draw them and different like little hacks on how to draw them accurately. Just to give everyone that's watching an idea, one of my go-tos is drawing chrysanthemums. I love drawing them. I draw them all the time because I love how complex they are. So that was my assignment from last night.
Oh, fun,
Beautiful.
man. Look at that. You knocked it out. Knocked it out of the pack, son.
Yeah, same cover-up assignment, same, image underneath it. But I chose to go with one big flower as opposed to a whole bunch of smaller ones because I just like to take one thing and just make it big.
Right.
But that's the key to drawing those mums is just starting out at one spot and then going up and then looping back into that same line. Then all you do is draw another connecting line. But it's keeping that same petal width throughout the whole thing. You can shrink it a tiny bit towards the middle, but typically just keep them all the exact same width, and it's going to create a lot more of that consistent mum kind of look.
Okay. Can I see the one that you were doing again, Jason?
Yeah, I have no problems to even sending it to you as well if you want me to.
That'd be
but
great.
I'm gonna pin you real quick.
Yeah,
There we
go
go.
for it.
got you.
In fact, let me do this. I'll turn the screen brightness up and I should be able to do a replay.
So real quick question. I wasn't able to join the class last night. Well, I didn't join the class last night. What is it? So it's cover up and it's just with the flower, or is it just anything that you want to use for the cover up?
No, so we had a section of, so you can kind of see, I'm going through and I'm thumbnailing right now.
Oh, we did.
And
have
you'll see
flowers,
in
okay.
just a minute when I give up on that thumbnail I'm currently doing. Here I am just planning it out, and then, you know, we can skip ahead a little bit more. But you'll see how as I'm going through.
Okay.
So start out with some very big single broad lines when you're sketching them out. And then all you have to do is go through and trace those big ghosted lines.
Line that up. Okay.
Yeah, it's one of many little tricks and hacks I have for drawing mums. And I can't take credit for that either, by the way. I learned that from one of the Tattoo Smart seminars.
Okay, cool.
So here's me just going through, blasting out the line work for it.
So then you start to add some of these extra like
Little
art.
bumps and ridges
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Yep.
Yeah.
And that you can make look any way you want.
Okay.
That's something that really comes down to the individual style of the artist. Some people have chrysanthemum petals that are just very smooth all the way through. Some people go absolutely crazy with it. Some people will stick to more of like a jagged, almost, well, here's one of my big influences. I got tattooed by Clint Danroth at London the one year, and he threw some mum petals on the inside of my arm.
Oh, wow.
Right. So they can take on this very crazy, almost like diamond-like tip where they fold over.
That's beautiful.
You know, but if you look, he doesn't have any solid curving arcs.
Right.
A lot of it's just very jagged, or it's an S curve type shape.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
So, you know, going based off of that, you can make it look very neo-trad. If you want to stick to more of like the classic look, that's just a very simple, smooth arc with like a single fold over. Then you get guys like Fibs out there, and they'll add like the little hook at the tip, and they'll start to do some of the inner ridge petal, like inner ridge lines, and like those bumps to give that texture. Maybe they'll do an outer line on the back to show the flow of that petal. But that's all down to the individual artist. There's a book you can pick up. It's called Japanese Flora. It's put out by Kintaro Publishing. Highly recommend it. I have 2 copies of it, the older version and the new updated version. And it will walk you through how to draw every flower that Japanese tattoos commonly use. From cherry blossoms, peonies, chrysanthemums, lotus flowers, leaves, waves. It's got everything, and it'll show you petal structures, and it'll show you start out with a ball, and then you've got petal going here, petal going there, petal going this way. Here's what it looks like if it's coming towards you. Say hi to Jake, by the way, everyone. This is Jake behind me.
Hi,
Morning, Jake.
He's my live-in housemate for a time being. Yeah, we do art stuff. We paint and stuff at night. So
Critical.
yeah.
Awesome.
But yeah, that's just a couple of tricks. Japanese Flora by Kintaro Publishing. Amazing investment. That's
Ooh,
how I
have to check
learned
that out.
mums. That and I got tattooed by Fibs, and he's the chrysanthemum king. So
So we're
that
using
dude will sit
flowers.
down and he'll just draw a couple of small circles on you, and he'll be like, "That'll make for a great mum." And it's like, dude, you drew a couple of tiny little circles on me. What are you talking about? And then as he's tattooing, you're like, oh,
There it is.
because that's his method of drawing mums. He draws one big circle for like the bulb of it, right? Or the center portion. And then he'll do a whole bunch of like smaller ovals around it. And that's where those petals are going to overlap.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. So there's,
so
like I
cool.
said, there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can draw mums.
Awesome. Well, I'm sorry for making you ride in your chair, but I'm glad for the opportunity to be able to hear all this stuff because it's only going to get us better, right?
Yeah. I mean,
That's
like I
right.
said, if you ever want to get together and do like a little like outside drawing group and work on mums, I'll show you like every trick I have.
I'm definitely down for that.
Yeah, let me
sure.
know. I'm always
you-
happy to help.
Could you repeat that book?
It's called Japanese Flora by Kintaro Publishing. In fact, I can pull up the website and show it off for you guys.
Perfect.
I don't know if it's sold out or not. Generally, their books do tend to sell out pretty quickly, but they did. This one should be in stock. Okay, yeah, here it is. And it is in stock. You can pick it up. There we go. I'll share that with you. It's called Japanese Flora by Kintaro Publishing. And I mean, this book is the Bible if you're like me and you like to draw flowers.
Nice.
It's got different sections, different flow, form, maple leaves, different perspective like layouts. It comes in a really nice hardbound book. Highly recommend it. Like I said, I own 2 copies of it. There's an older version, and then this is the new updated version with like 50 extra pages. Forty new pages, sorry. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Thanks for the share, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll have to check that one out. It's a good come up.
Yeah, it's really helpful. It'll even do like dotted line illustrations of like, if this is where I want to draw it or how I want it to look, I'm going to follow this kind of a dotted line to create this petal shape. And it's for all of the different types of flowers and leaves as well. So it's
Nice.
very useful, very informative, highly recommend it.
Radical.
All of the stuff that they tend to publish is actually really, really good. They even had a Horiyoshi III scroll book that they published for a little while. That was a collection of 50 scrolls he had painted, and they put them together in one big hardbound book. But that's sold out. That was a very, very limited run kind of thing.
Yeah, I can see that being sold out pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was sold out in like a week.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. The guy's a master.
Yeah.
Speaking of like being able to draw like little circles and stuff like that, you know, he's definitely one of those persons that will just do the shape, the oval shape of the face, the cross line for the eyes and the nose, and then just attack it. And that's it. It's just like what, 4 or 5 lines total, and then he'll
And
just
that's all
do
you
like
get
just do a
before
severed
he
head
just starts
and
tattooing. Yeah.
crazy amounts of hair and everything like that. And you're like, yeah, that's cool, dude. Okay, that's cool. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for showing me how much more work I still have to do.
Well, when you've been tattooing for over 50 years,
Yeah. And
you're probably going to be able to do the same thing.
Yeah, and the method is like so cool too. Like the amount of discipline and stuff like that goes into that style of tattoo. You know what I mean? Like the man, makes his own ink every day. You know what I mean? And I'd heard recently, I don't know how much of this is true or not, but I'd heard recently that what he does is he'll take the time and outline the entire bodysuit or the entire like leg or back piece or something like that. And what I've heard, and I don't know how true this is because there's a lot of complications that would happen, but I've heard that what they do is a lot of times they'll come in for 30 minutes, 40 minutes every day until it's finished. You know what I mean? So they don't sit there for 5, 6, 12 hours at a time. A lot of times it's, 40 minutes or an hour or so like that every day until the shading's done or something like that. You know what I mean? But I don't know. That seems
That makes a
yeah,
lot of
sure.
sense.
Yeah, but the only thing that I could see being an issue there, well, one of the things I could see being an issue there is just like healing. You know what I mean? And your body being able to tolerate that kind of like I don't know, work, abuse every day.
I don't know.
I
I think
wonder.
if you're working on different spots every day, because I mean, I highly doubt he's covering too much area, like
Right.
too much actual real estate in, 45 minutes. I can't imagine that you would get a tremendous amount of work done. Maybe it's just like a 3x3 square, right?
Yeah.
And
Right.
if you're doing a whole bodysuit, you got lots of different areas you can be working on.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I like the appeal to it even, because there's a guy that in the shop that I work in now where he does a lot of Japanese work and very big, large pieces too. And it's awesome to see it all come together. But there's so, like anything else large that you do, there's a lot of beginning stage to it. And it's always
Yes.
awesome to be able to see that progress and see it start to come to life and everything like that. And I'm not saying that's the end all be all go because sometimes the magic is in that process. Like I talked about last week, like trusting the process and everything like that. Um, Personally, I think that's where the most amount of magic is, but it's always so cool to be able to see it come together a little bit faster. And I'm sure the client and the artist are both a little bit happier. And Horiyoshi's a little bit older in age and stuff like that, so I could see like wanting to accomplish the work that you started, or just get that amount of work under your belt. Like the guy's been tattooing for over 30 years, 40 years even. It's pretty wild. Pretty wild. Josh, I saw that you were thumbing around some thumbnails and stuff like that. What do you got going on today?
I am designing a piece for this weekend. So my art mentor and I put together this crazy document. So it's like a Photoshop file. Let me
Check it out.
screen. So
Pin you real quick. Hold on one second. Okay, there you go.
and I may have to mute myself occasionally if my daughters start screaming at me again.
Totally fine.
Fair warning.
Okay.
But it's one big document that's got like the entire process from start to finish in here. So it's you find your objects and write out what it is that you're doing, because having a clear concept helps. You do your thumbnail process with so at least 5 thumbnails, and I've got a body part template for male or female, every part of the body. So I just select, copy, and crop that body part, whatever it is I'm designing for, and copy it 5 times. Good to go. Do 5+ different value studies and try to remember all of these things.
Yeah.
There's a screaming baby.
Yeah, you can do your thing, man. I think we're all used to it here. Believe me, I've had my fair share.
And then from the thumbnails, moving on into comps. So pick the favorite value
nice.
pattern, and then put together a few comps based off of that actual thumbnail. So,
That's cool. So this process is something that you're developing for yourself, or does this make it work a little bit easier for you to be able to sit down from start to finish, from blank canvas to a finished product? Is this how it makes it a little bit easier for your brain to work on the overall image, the overall product, or the end results?
Just having, so there's theory and then application, and often theory and application get separated. So you have to try to remember the theory during the application.
Right.
If the theory is completely integrated in the application, so having literally a checklist on each layer or group that I have here. So I can say, oh yeah, I did really good with shape design there. I checked all of my designs for tangents and got rid of them. Made sure that the line rhythm was good, worked on negative space. Don't have to worry about cropping because this isn't something that gets cropped. I pushed huge, medium, and small. So I went huge with the mock, medium with the flower shapes, and then small details are in there too. Not so much implied line. It's all pretty direct line. Unity, feel like is pretty good. And then 30 and 3.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty freaking bold.
Yeah.
So it just it helps me not forget things.
Yeah. As far as the design rules, right, is what you're kind of talking about, like when you're talking about these 30 and 3 and then like the bold lines and stuff like that.
Well, even beyond that, not just the design rules, but the process. So I've got like instructions for each stage up here that I can't really lie to myself about. So enlarge your favorite thumbnail and draw over it to create your final composition. That's actually more important than a lot of people realize. And Guy actually talked about it during the exercises. Like, don't redraw it, just blow up your thumbnail because that's already got really good rhythm to it.
Yeah. I love it when Guy approaches it that way. There's a lot of raw information that comes out in some of those concept sketches. You know what I mean? And I really like your process here. I really do. It's funny because and I'm not trying to compare it to this book or anything like that, but I really like. I just referenced Drawing from the Right Side of the Brain to this kid that was interested in an apprenticeship recently, and I talked to him about it, and he hadn't heard about it yet. And it's interesting because it talks a lot about some of these principles that you're applying to your drawings. You know what I mean? And it is what helps the eye be drawn to what we would call a finished drawing. You know what I mean? And or just that information that we've put down on paper or on the canvas. You know what I mean? Or the tattoo. So it's really cool to see that process. And and I will give you like a big like, that's awesome, dude, because like a big round of applause, because like my brain, man, if I see all that information at the top of the page, I'm like, and I'll just draw all over it. You know what I mean? So that's killer that you're being able to like structure it that way. You know what I mean? That's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah,
Thanks for sharing that with us.
I typically don't see that information just because I've got it like hidden behind everything at the top of the screen, but I'll like scroll up and check every now and then.
That's cool. That's like, it would be the same if that's the case, then it would be the same as you using a reference, as like a hint, as like that anchor point, right? So that's pretty cool that you have like that guide to kind of traverse you through that, help you traverse through it a little bit more. That's awesome, dude. That's cool, man. What do you think about that, Jason? I liked it. I could see you kind of looking at it, and I know you're definitely like a more of an organized kind of person when it comes to things like that too. So what did you think about that? Because I liked it. I mean, I think that's very applicable for a lot of different kind of like projects, especially larger projects when they can be pretty daunting, and a cover up even. You know what I mean? Because like cover ups, dude, especially, I think that would be super helpful to have some information like that up at the top of your page.
Well, I'll tell you this. Beats the hell out of my system of Post-it notes.
Yeah.
I mean, that would eliminate all of the 9 trillion Post-it notes that I have to remember: form, value, line rhythm, line weight, line contrast, dark and light contrast, dark to dark, light to light, pause on neg, pause on pause. Yeah, those are all individual Post-it notes.
Yep. I like it.
So that eliminates like most of that. I'm not saying I'm opposed to changing my system, but it's definitely a way more efficient system than what I'm using.
Pretty neat, man.
Yeah.
Pretty neat. I like it.
I mean, I would just worry about the size of each individual Photoshop file, because I mean, it's Photoshop. Those file sizes can be absolutely ridiculously huge. I've had some Photoshop files probably in the 2 to 3 gig range, You know, just from the resolution, the size, how unbelievable, the incredible amount of layers that I had on it. Because I'm one of the, much like yourself, Josh, one of those people that everything needs to be on its own layer. Everything needs to be on it. That way, if I have to adjust the layer, I can adjust that layer without screwing up everything else.
Yeah, I've been fighting that urge lately. So I've been consolidating as many layers as I can. This file so far is at 88 megs. So it's not small, but I pay for 4 terabytes of cloud storage. So
yeah, same here.
Man, you guys are crazy. I got, you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I got so frustrated and tired of like realizing that I was just drawing on the layer that I shouldn't be drawing on. That I was like, you know what? I'm not messing with layers anymore. I'm just gonna put it all on the same layer, dude.
It's very traditional of you, sir.
It gets messy. It gets super messy, and I won't lie. There's definitely some applications that I'll use, like as far as the layering process, to help with like that kind of effect that you would achieve in oil paintings, where it's like glazing and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But other than that, that's about it. Like the top layers are usually like for the glazing process. You know what I mean? And or the highlights or something like that. Like when I want it to be like a pure untainted brush, or like, you know, with the tattoo, on some tattoo projects in black and gray, like you'll bust out a new cartridge or new set of needles to get just the pure whites and stuff like that in there, you know, and use a clean rinse out cup. It's the same idea for that with my single layer use. We'll call it Ricardo's messy brain process.
That scares me.
Yeah,
I don't know if I like that.
It's got to be with the
because like, what if you need to change something, but it's all on the same layer, and now you end up changing everything?
Yeah, man, that's part of it. You know what I mean?
That would give me such anxiety.
Oh no, dude, it's so much fun. It's so much fun to be like, let's see what happens. Let's go for it.
It's like what you're doing is permanent or something.
Something like that. I mean, I wouldn't do it on a tattoo, but it's definitely helped out with just getting these ideas down on some kind of canvas as quick as possible. And that's the one thing that I will say that keeps the iPad in my arsenal right now, is just the convenience out of it. You know what I mean? Like, I love it, dude. It's great. It's a great tool. It's a great resource. But I've found myself recently, like you, Jason, going back to analog painting, drawing, and stuff like that. And I keep trying to pinch and zoom on it, man. And I don't like that, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't, because I'm just like, wow, that's become such an ingrained habit in a year and a half. I've only been using the iPad for about a year and a half or 2 years. You know what I mean? So it's like, in just that short amount of time versus the amount of time I've had any interest at all in art, it become ingrained in me, man. It's incredible. Like, I don't know if I like that or not, to be honest with you.
I think you hit the nail on the head there, though. You mentioned the fact that the iPad was a tool.
Yes.
Right. And that's something that I think is incredibly important to keep in mind, especially in this day and age. Yeah. The iPad is just that. It's a tool in your toolbox, right? If you don't have those solid fundamental artistic skills, then it doesn't matter what tool you're using, you still have more to learn, right?
Right.
You know, if you can't draw it by hand, you should never tattoo it. You know, that's the way I was brought up in tattooing, is if you can't sit down and draw a portrait of someone sitting in front of you,
right,
then don't tattoo portraits, because that's going to be like drawing someone sitting in front of you, right? Or like, you know, working strictly off of a photograph and drawing based off of that photograph. You know, if you can't draw, say, I don't know, trees, right? If you can't draw a tree, then don't tattoo a tree, you know, because you haven't understood that subject matter yet to the point that you need to in order to execute it properly as a tattoo.
Yeah, I'd say yes. You know, and that's the interesting part too, is that like, it's like everything else. It's a medium to a certain point. You know what I mean? You learn to apply the technique with the medium that you're using and everything like that. But I think you're right. It does boil down to the understanding of accomplishing that that structure, right, to make the image readable and stuff like that. So yeah, I agree with you, Jason. That's pretty heavy, man.
Yeah. I just got started on another painting as well the other day. Already
Yeah.
got a couple hours into it. Yeah, it's a commission for my friend Tim.
Mhm.
He just opened up a new studio and he's like, dude, got any art laying around? My walls look a little bare. And I'm like,
Nice.
ooh, what's your theme? I've got lots laying. I've got boxes of original art from years ago, just sitting around collecting dust. I think I'm just going to start mailing it out to different people and just being like, hey, thanks for all your input and being a cool person. Here's an original painting.
Radical,
Just so
man.
that I can clear some of it out because like it's taking up tons of room. I've got one massive dragon painting that's like, I painted it for a specific spot in the old studio so that it had a 4-inch solid margin all the way around the painting, but took up an entire like little divided tattoo space, right? So I measured out the space, made the painting to fit that specific spot. And then when I left that studio, I brought the painting with me, and now I have nowhere to hang it up. So I might
I
take
hate
it
that.
off the bars, the stretcher bars, and just roll it up and put it aside for a rainy day and just be like, oh yeah, I forgot I had this. Here, someone enjoy this. But
Yeah.
I'll show you what I'm doing on this guy. He's got a very 1980s traditional flash and like early 1900s religious theme going on. So I started working on like a Sacred Heart with like all this ornate filigree around it. And I stained the paper, which I don't normally do, but I really kind of like the antique look it's got. Did some like burnt umber traditional roses down at the bottom. There's another rose on the inside of the heart.
It's just a little dark.
Yeah, I'm trying.
There you go. There you go. That's it right there. Yeah, killer, dude. That looks great.
I'm going to do the middle so that kind of based off of the glass and chrome exercise we did the other week. So that's where I'm really trying to exercise that. So I'm going to do the middle of the heart to make it look like it's red glass.
Cool.
And this rose that's on the inside of it is like sitting behind this red colored glass.
Oh, that's fun, man. That's awesome. Yeah, that's gonna be really cool looking. I like that patina, I guess it would, or that stain, like you said, on the overall piece so far. It's gonna really make everything kind of like jump right out at you. You know what I mean?
It's really changing what I have to look at as far as my value. I'm starting to realize that a lot of those very light silvery gray washes that I was used to doing on unstained paper, I actually have to go like two to three values darker in order to get that same level of contrast without hitting solid black. So it's become a bit more of a challenge than I thought it would be, but I'm saving a lot of the solid black for the interior of the heart and the surrounding area to kind of provide contrast to those lighter areas, really push those forward a little bit more.
Radical, dude.
Can't wait to see what that's gonna look like.
You and me both. I just hope I don't mess this one up and have to completely redo it.
That's always the fun part whenever I'm tattooing somebody. I'm like, okay, outline's done. Let's start with some shading and hope we don't mess this up.
Right?
I don't think they think it's very funny. Sometimes they laugh, but sometimes they just look at me. Like, it's okay, man. I'm just messing with you. I've been doing this for a little while. We're good. So let's see here. I have some drawings that I wanted to work on with you guys, but let me grab something real quick. I'll be right back. Actually, it's right. Here it is. I'll bust this old guy out. I don't know if you can see this or not. Let's see if you can see it. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. We're gonna work on this guy a little bit today. I'm gonna grab a chart first. You guys have big tattoos coming up today?
I mean, I don't personally, so.
Nope, today is
Um,
off day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we are greatly enjoying it.
Yeah, it sounds like it's beautiful down there. I can hear the birds and everything.
So you hear the
Actually,
planes, it gets too loud, let me know.
oh no, no, you're good. You're good. Oh, man, I can't find check it. I can't. Oh well. Okay, wait, here we go. I actually woke up a
Okay.
little extra early today so I could get a running. I think I got up at I was running by 4 o'clock this morning.
See, Allie, look at that.
Is that
What
more
are you
like
looking
what I'm looking at?
Bingo. Nailed it.
Okay.
Nailed it. That's a mom.
See, just a little bit of coaching.
Yeah, that's all it takes sometimes.
That's right. Awesome.
There you go.
So what's
Now, if you
like,
start playing with some of those outer petals and really extending them,
so they're
like just a couple
way
of
far
really
out.
big, long guys coming out from the background,
Yeah.
you'll start to see how if you draw one spine line, you can really kind of get those to curl around and move in different directions and stuff. And you can really create an image that can flow in any direction you can matter, any direction you can imagine.
Well, this sounds very appealing. Okay.
That's why I like mums.
Awesome.
Ricardo, where'd that skull go, man?
Oh, I was gonna play around with one of those flowers and see
Yeah,
if
dude, do it.
we got the right thing. Skull's gone, bro. Skull's gone.
No more skulls?
No more skulls, man.
Yeah, I may so not this coming weekend, but the weekend after, I'm flying up to Canada to go to the Calgary Deadly Tattoo Convention with
Oh, awesome.
James Tex, Damian Robertson, Teresa Sharp, Chris Dunn, who I'm getting tattooed by. And I may, if anyone there has time for walk-ups, knowing the lineup that's there, I may actually end up getting a second tattoo as well.
What?
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what
Nice.
happens, but I've got a nice big open spot on the inside of my right thigh for like a nice skull. So maybe I'll just have someone throw a skull in there.
And who are you getting work done by again?
Chris Dunn from Deadly Tattoos.
Chris Dunn. Okay.
Yeah, if you
Cool.
guys don't know him, go follow him. His work is incredible. In fact, I may pull him up and just kind of share him. But
Go for it, man.
yeah.
Yeah, pull them up.
Yeah, well,
Hey, Jason, I'm just chiming back in. I heard you're getting tattooed by Chris Dunn. That's very, very cool. I'm just
Yeah.
curious, like now with all the technology, how tempted are you to just go ham and set up your camera and this and that, or is it in like a
oh, I'll
convention?
definitely be doing some live streaming while I'm there.
Ooh, cool. Awesome.
In fact, I actually wanted to talk to you about that, but we can talk offline about it.
Definitely.
There may be a point in time, depending on how the Wi-Fi reception is, at the casino that the show's being held at. I may see if there's any way you can actually host it while I'm there streaming for different interviews and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's kind of the key. Like when we go to conventions and we want to share all this information live, it's always that internet connection.
So these are just a couple of things that he has up for grabs. And this
Oh,
dude is an
wow.
absolute machine when it comes down to artwork production. I mean, look at this tiger, right?
Yeah, that's
Hmm.
cool.
Look at how graphic yet still very soft some of that fur looks.
Mhm.
That's gorgeous.
And then he did this Phoenix back piece, and I was like, dude, I almost want to say forget tattooing my side and tattoo my back. Because look at the structure of the wing and the head. And then you've got this
Beautiful.
nice like Phoenix feather coming up from the bottom, but look at all of the tiny little minute details in and around the eyes and face and how broad these feathers are. to really contrast that area of high detail. The dude's just an absolute wizard.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, man.
Hey, Jason, I know we spoke about it, but what was your approach to reaching out to him for this piece?
I hit him up on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
No,
Yo,
like
what's up?
literally that's all I did. I just sent him a message and I was like, dude, I love your work. You know, do you have any availability anytime in like the next 10 years? And he started laughing and he's like, yeah, dude, I try not to book out too far in advance. You know, what are you trying to get done? And I was like, anything, I don't care. Just use your wizardry on me and cast a spell. And there you go. And that ended up rolling into creating, you know, a little bit more of like a relationship with him and a friendship. And then I interviewed him for Reinventing the Tattoo. I think it was last November, October, November. This is one of the paintings he recently did, by the way. It's 48 by 12.
That's beautiful. Wow.
It's pretty cool. He uses like a little bit of the subject matter and then just kind of tapers it off into like a loose background, doesn't he?
A lot of it is implied.
Yeah.
A lot of it. I mean, the spines on the back of the dragon back here in the negative,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and how all of this red and blue kind of fade out into this opaque gray wash. But you still have a lot of these strong shapes moving your eye throughout the piece. Yeah.
That's
But
really
yeah,
radical.
so just keeping in touch with him and, you know, talking to him, maybe buy a print or some artwork or, you know, something along those lines from an artist that you really admire. Send them a message or shoot them an email, depending on their booking system, depending on their preferred methodology of booking. Go through, send them a message or an email, fill out their form and get on a waiting list if you have to. And then from there, it's okay, set up the appointment, put the deposit down, like, you know, and then go and get tattooed and ask them every question you possibly can.
And it's honestly one of the best things, in my opinion, that you could do is like, you know, pick up a piece of art that the artist has drawn, you know what I mean, or painted or like a print and stuff like that. You know, if you can't afford the tattoo, then definitely buy something original from them. You know what I mean? Talk to them about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's like that's one of the favorite things that I like is when somebody buys something like that from me. You know what I mean? You don't have to buy anything from me, but if you were to do something, then that would be hands down one of the best, most approachable thing you can do with an artist, I think.
That's cool.
Yeah, another take on chrysanthemums, Allie.
Yeah. I love that.
I think it'll be nice for you, Jason, being there. I'm sure he'll have prints and maybe even original artwork at the show to see.
Oh, I fully intend on bringing a cardboard tube with me to buy prints. In fact, I'm probably just going to check a bag just so that I have extra room to bring stuff back. Not that, you know, I've got, you know, all of the money in the world to really go through and buy everything that I see that I want, which I know walking up and down every aisle, I'm going to be like, that's mine. I want that. I
Dibs.
want that one too.
You're gonna have to walk through.
Give me
it's
two
like
of those. I know someone that'll like that, so I need one, and I'll buy one for someone else.
That's so awesome, Jason.
Oh yeah, give
That's
me that one too. Oh, that's your convention banner? Sorry, not for sale. Didn't realize that. Like I'm gonna be that guy. That's the way I was the first time I went to the London Tattoo Convention. I think the first year that I went to the London Tattoo Convention, I bought something like 12 prints. And I went back the second day and bought like another 8. Just I needed to have a piece of that artwork as a part of my life. You know, and knowing that everyone that was there was pretty much completely booked up for like the next 8 years. It's like, okay, well, at least I get to buy a print, you know?
That's radical, man. Yeah, you know, Jason, I loved it. Working with you at the conventions and stuff like that, man, it's been a blast, dude. It's a lot of you had a lot of good energy and stuff like that, and you like to talk to people the same way that I do. You know what I mean? It seemed to come a little bit more natural to you, but it's pretty cool. and I've learned a lot in the process. And I've learned that sometimes not always packing as least amount of possible is a good thing either, is it?
Yeah, there's something to be said for minimalists, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
I completely and totally support minimalist traveling and minimalist convention work. I
Mhm.
completely and totally 100% support it. There are certain downsides to it though.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, for example, maybe you want to bring your prints with you, right? But you don't have anywhere to display them, or you don't have any method of display for them. It's like, okay, well, now if you want to put your up for grabs designs out on the table, what are you going to do with your prints?
Yeah.
If you tape them up to your banner and have an up for sale sign on your banner, hardly anyone's actually going to acknowledge that. You need to have it out in front of people, you know?
Yeah.
There are certain
Yeah.
little tricks that I've picked up along the way that really help. And I learned a few during the Lehigh Valley show I was just at, that I'm going to be trying at the next show that I work at. So I'm pretty excited for that. Yeah, I've got
That's cool.
a new system coming up of how I'm going to be displaying prints and up for grabs designs. And
Really? That's awesome.
yeah, I'm
Is it
pretty
going to
excited to
be,
try it out.
is it digital or is it going to be a presentation of some sort or?
Nope. It has to do with like a wire grid, a
Oh,
wire
yeah, okay.
display grid. And you can get them so that they form like cubes, right? By having a couple of those set up on like the floor coming up and then onto your table, it actually gives you a lot more sides that you can like tape and clip stuff to display it from any kind of a direction. You know, you
Nice.
can have it built as like a little tower or two little towers or, you know, whatever. And you can clip them together so that they make like, you know, weird little shapes and stuff. But by having those smaller, even though they're not really small, they're like a 1 foot by 1 foot or something like that. But by having those designated areas to display prints, to clip on designs that you want to tattoo, you're creating extra visual space in your tiny little area that's just dedicated to displaying stuff, right? That's not going to interfere with your tabletop space. And that's
Yeah.
where I think a lot of people run into issues is
Mhm.
tabletop space is great, but you have limited real estate. How do you maximize that real estate? You either come up with a way to like clamp on a shelf to create a second level and you start building up, or you find a way to display things like, you know, maybe instead of having a whole bunch of cubes, maybe you take all those little 12 by 12 grids and you like clip them all together so that they make a wall. And then you can hang stuff up on that little grid wall, right? So there's
Yeah.
all different types of little ways that you can do things to create a bigger visual footprint.
Jason, I thought it was funny on our way to Hell City. It was Renee and Pawn and I, and we stopped by Target. She's like, I always do this before shows, and she found some cool, like wired baskets to set her prints in. And sometimes if you just go into a store and you know the vibe you're looking for, you can find very, very cute little different ways that nobody else is doing that you think seem obvious, but really set the mood of your booth.
Absolutely.
Nice.
I wanted to get some of those collapsible art gallery display panels that are, you know, 6 foot by 3 foot when they're unfolded, and put those up almost as like a divider wall between my booth and whoever's next to me. But then I realized by doing that, that would kind of cut down that like interpersonal artist relationship.
Yeah.
Because you want to be able to talk to the people next to you. And at least with a wire grid, you can actually see them and talk to them. But like I've thought about doing stuff like that to give it more of like an art gallery vibe. But you run into the same kind of an issue, where you don't want to close down the space that you have in between all of the booths. You want to make sure that everything stays nice and open because you want to appear open to your clients, right? As they're walking past, you want them to feel welcomed. You want them to feel like they can come up and talk to you, right? Because if you have everything set up and piled up on your front table, no one's going to want to talk to you. It's a very defensive thing to do, psychologically speaking.
You know,
You
one
want
of
to
the
appear.
one of the yeah,
Go.
approachable,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I agree with you completely. I think it just reminded me of like in Philly when we were in Philly, when I bought that little armrest and I ended up setting up with. I thought it'd be bad at first to kind of set up with my back towards the crowd, you know what I mean? But I got real close to the front of the table, right behind the front table, and then had my back towards the aisle. People were actually able to come up to me and talk to me a little bit easier that way. Like I could just kind of stop what I was doing, turn around, and say hello to people. You know what I mean? It seemed to work out a lot better that way, actually. You know,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
people were able to kind of like watch and see what was happening and stuff like that too. So that was a lot of fun as well.
Absolutely. And that's something people are always fascinated about. That's why they go to these shows. They want to watch the process, right? And that's great as long as you have someone watching the front of your booth, right? If you have your back to the crowd and you can't see your booth in front of you to keep an eye on all of your stuff, and you've got prints out there for sale, or you've got this, or you've got their t-shirts or whatever, you don't know. And I've had this happen at shows before. People have come by and it's like a sticky finger discount. They'll, grab a print, or they'll grab a calendar, or they'll grab this or that, and if you have it out there like stickers and whatnot and it's free, cool. But you don't want someone walking away with like a custom sketch that you just finished up that morning that you have on your up for grabs area and you forgot to tape it down and now it's in someone's pocket and they're going to go and get it tattooed. So like I said, as long as you have someone that's facing the direction of the aisle to keep an eye on things, absolutely show people what you're doing. They're going to come up and they're going to want to watch for sure.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the problem I always end up in, is I always end up with me looking at the front of the booth and watching the front table. And then because I'm doing that, people can't really see what I'm working on.
That's exactly it. That was exactly what I found that worked out pretty well, was people being interested in it that much more because of they were able to come up and see the application of the process and stuff too. Which, being a tattoo artist, has always been pretty fun to be able to go up to another artist and ask them like, "Hey, can I watch your work?" So to be able to see that right there, that's pretty stinking cool, man.
Yeah. Well,
So
I can't
Lauren,
wait to go up to the Deadly show and see what kind of tricks those guys are using.
I just started following a lady from Canada, Annie Marson, I think. Annie Marson. Let me see. Let's see if I can find her name, and then you can pull it up if you don't mind, Jason. Her stuff is amazing. Those guys up there are just knocking them out of the park, dude.
There is something in the water in Canada where people are just incredible artists. Absolutely. Like, I don't know if it's like an extra vitamin or mineral in the water. And if so, can I just buy the supplement, or is it not the same thing? Is it, their proximity to live mooses, right? Maybe that's it. We don't know. We don't know, but there is something.
When Jason gets a pet moose and puts it in his backyard, we all
Now
know
you
Do
know
not tempt
why.
me. I want
Yeah.
one.
Now
And I
you
would
know
ride
why.
that thing to the grocery store. I would ride it to the studio. I'd saddle up my moose 100%.
That's awesome.
Yeah, totally.
Annie Marsden.
No, I don't know if that's it or not. Did you find it? I don't think that's it, dude.
It wasn't Shay Motts, was it?
Oh, okay. It's Anne Marie Tattoo. ANNE.
Oh yeah, I
Marie
follow her.
Tattoo. Yeah, pull her stuff up, dude. Super illustrative. I just stumbled upon it the other day. Henceforth, I follow her on the
Love this
Instagrams.
octopus.
Wow. Look at that.
Like, look at the
chest.
strength and the weight of those tentacles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super cool.
Tiny little fruit bat, little flying
What an
fox action.
Yeah, the expression on it is great.
Yeah, her stuff is amazing, dude.
Absolutely phenomenal.
There was a skull and some flowers and peonies, I think, or some poppies. I'm sorry. Yeah, that
Yeah,
cat.
she's gonna be up at the Deadly Show.
Oh, that go figure.
That's the this is the poster for the Deadly Tattoo Convention.
Oh, nice. Very vogue.
Yeah. Oh, look at this Sphinx.
Yeah, that's the one. That's pretty cool. That's pretty fun. Really sweet.
I see those chrysanthemums. I see them.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
size of that thing. It's a big painting too.
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
That is not small.
Mm-mm.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Pretty neat, man.
I love that tie-in with the green by the tail and the green in the background.
I was just
Uh-huh.
looking at that.
Ties everything together. Skull with flowers. Skull.
Right there in the middle.
Skull
You
with
can see the
poppies.
Yeah, with poppies. That's right. Did I say poppies?
I think
Yeah,
you
look
said
at that thing.
peonies.
Maybe. I love that thing.
That's beautiful.
I love the perspective on it.
Hmm. And you never really see too many like open mouth skulls either. You know what I mean? I love it.
Yeah.
I love that
It's
somebody was.
definitely a lot more tricky than doing a standard closed jaw skull because you
Yes.
have all of the texture on the bottom side of the skull and all of those little pits and ridges that create that texture that are going to bounce light all around. It's way more tricky in my opinion, but
I agree. There's a drawing for it too. Yep. It looks like it's pretty complete there. Awesome. Yeah, if you guys get a chance, give her a follow.
yep. Anne Marie
Really?
Tattoo.
Very inspiring work, Sean.
Look at this kitsune. Or maybe it's just it's a kitsune. No, it's just a regular fox. One tail. I only see one tail.
That negative space use is really effective there.
Mm-hmm. Love the little guy, the little mouse on the side on the mushrooms too.
Oh, gorgeous.
I think the color is what really draws me in the most. A lot of those muted
Yeah.
teals and vibrant, like cooler greens,
Mm-hmm.
you know, right
color
next to this
palette's great.
very, very warm orange tone.
Yeah, I like the way they're all bled together too, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Lots of like little bridges and things like that with some of the muted tones that kind of pull it all together.
Love it.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. Well, guys, it's about that time for me here at Casa de Ricardo to start getting back on the day and get into tattoo mode. I was wondering if maybe we could all just give a little shout out where you're beaming in from, and we'll say goodbye for today. Jason, I'm gonna start with you.
So my name is Jason Leeser. I work out of the Inkwell Tattoo in Southampton, Pennsylvania. It's on the East Coast. It's a suburb of Philadelphia. You can find me on Instagram at Philly Inc. Also, feel free to join me on Sundays at 1 p.m. in the afternoon Eastern time for the Skill Building Sunday Drawing Group, where we go through and we talk about all kinds of fun stuff, dealing with tattoos and art and working on specific skills that week and how to build up our skills and what we can do to improve. So yeah, stop by. All are welcome. The Zoom's pretty publicly accessible, so if you want to jump in, jump in.
Yep.
You'll
Thank
never
you,
know what to
Jason.
expect, Jason. That's where I first met you, was on your drawing group, and now look at so even if you just pop in once or twice and you say hello, it's totally worthwhile.
It's funny
Yeah,
that
and
you
that's
said
all it
that.
takes.
That's exactly what I was going to say too, Lauren. I was like, that was the first time that I signed in was on February 14th last year. It was Valentine's Day, and I met Bruno and Jason for the first time, and Gabe for the first time, and here we are.
Real quick, Ricardo, I just want to tell you, I was hanging out with Bruno, and the way he said, he's like, Ricardo's getting good. He's really advancing, and he was just really admiring all the effect of the last year and stuff. So I just wanted to let you know about
Oh
that.
man, dude, that is humbling as hell. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm gonna reach out and give him an internet hug today.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's awesome. Okay, let's see who else is here. Josh, you want to say hello? No, you don't. I know you love it. I know you love saying hello to everybody.
Hey everyone, what's up? I'm Josh,
Aw.
and this
Look
is
at that baby.
Harper, nicknamed Hopper. I live in Kentucky. I own and tattoo out of Affinity Art Co. That's affinityart.co online. Yeah.
Yes, hello.
And yeah, thanks for letting me join today.
Thanks
Anytime,
for
man.
sharing with us, man. Yeah, thanks for sharing with us, dude. That I can't wait to see more of that process that you have going on. Killer. Allie?
Hey, so my name's Allie, and you can find me on Instagram at Living Water Art Studio. We're in Central Alabama and always up for adding to your next piece. So hit us up.
Radical. Thanks for joining again. Lauren, I know that you have some video things going on with the internet and everything like that, but I was wondering if maybe you could share a little bit about the convention this weekend. I know that Raw had taken home a pretty big award this week.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. The convention itself will do a lot of coverage. I know on the Tattoo Weekly, Gabe and I were together last weekend, so we're going to kind of compile all of our experiences, footage, and photos, which will air next Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Other than
Sweet.
that, the piece that took best of the day on Sunday was an incredible piece by the Tony V. He basically, I think, did close to 30 hours on this leg outer leg sleeve.
Wow.
Absolutely incredible. Tons of deep reds because it was a bloody theme, and the way he did like the shattered glass was super unique. We'll share the photos and all that, but it gained a lot of attention for the brand and for people. I got to talk with Russ Abbott, Marshall Bennett, Jesse Smith, Jared Morrison. An incredible amount of talent. It was, like I said, the best show I'd ever been to. But
That's
we'll
awesome.
talk about that more because I know we have a split. Maybe even next week we can kind of go through some of the photos or the tattoos that were done there.
Yeah, that's cool. I can't wait to
Yeah.
see them. I have a couple questions for you though. You mind?
Nope.
Okay, so being in the room with those kinds of names, what was some of the impressions that you had right away? Like, what were some of the thoughts that you had going on?
Some of the thoughts, because Hell City was my first show when I was, okay, so 10 years prior, I wasn't as comfortable. So my impression was, my initial thoughts were, this was an untouchable group. They're so cool. They have their shit together. They're working hard. They're humble. All of these things, but I never talked to them. This week was much different. The atmosphere that Reinventing has provided through Gabe or Fawn or Derb or any of the Hell City crew, they made it really comfortable. So walking up to Jesse or Marshall was natural because you're kind of guilty by association. If you're there and you have that little, even the Reinventing community, you feel comfortable enough to walk up to these people, and they're much more humble than I had thought, to be honest with you. Very, very open. A lot of great conversations were had. Like, yeah, I don't know exactly how to put my feelings into words besides the camaraderie and the level, and it was cool. Every night everybody would go on to the hotel bar, which is right outside of the convention, and a lot of incredible conversations were had until the bar was closed, you know. So it was a great atmosphere for communicating, and I think the atmosphere contributed so much to the overall feel that everybody was comfortable together.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's a, you know, there's like an author named Neil Gaiman that talks about those kinds of moments and those kinds of places. He calls them there's like magic in those places. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And it's pretty awesome when you get to experience that. You know, and like you said about like putting the emotions into words, there's a whole nother art to that. And I'm starting to pick up little bits here and there on my own interpretation of my emotions and things like that. So that's awesome that you could share it with us in that manner. And Neil Gaiman makes good art. Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing with the city, there was Gabe, Jake, and I hung out, and Bruno for the first time ever. So, you know, and then Renee Little, Conan Lee. It was a great group. So if you guys have the opportunity to do the Phoenix show, a lot of us will be together. Allie, I've never gotten to meet you in person. So if you want to make the hot trip to Phoenix in August, it would be great to get a lot of us together, because the reinventing community is very, very strong and online, but just as strong in person. And when we all get together, it's wonderful.
Yeah, I agree completely. It, you know, it was so awesome to be able to be at the VOAB. It was so awesome to be able to be down in Texas, to travel with Jason and Kier and stuff like that, and Bruno, to finally meet him. You know, we went down to Miami, and he hosted us down at his house and stuff like that. Very hospitable person. It's really cool to be able to meet everybody in person. I couldn't agree more. And the reinventing community has helped me out tremendously in the sense of being able to voice my own opinion, and be able to feel comfortable enough to do it. Gabe has been awesome. You know, we get to spend a better part of a week in a very intimate environment up in Maine, and that was so magical all on its own. And I get to be around Renee. She's hilarious. You know what I mean? I've met Jake once. He's a very easy to approach guy. I will say though that like what has helped that come to fruition for me is definitely realizing that it's my own interpretation of that moment before I meet these people, right? I'm the one that has put this like limelight, and respectfully so. You know, some of these people worked very hard to get to where they're at. There's a lot of time and process that we don't see, we don't pay attention to. Whenever you do meet these people in person, all you think of is this catalyst, this one moment where they've already reached this pivotal point in their career and everything like that, and it's awesome. And there's a lot to learn there, but you also have to remember that they started out just like us. You know what I mean? And that we were able to put aside whatever it is that's holding us back to be able to walk up to them and just say hello. And most likely they're just as nervous about it as we are too, I promise you. You know what I mean? So like, it's really cool to be able to just think about that. And it makes things a lot more fun. You know what I mean? Of course, there's going to be a little bit of fanboy, I promise you. I still fanboy from time to time, and we just make fun of it, and we'll just make fun of it. And then I make fun of myself too, so it's okay. But yeah, that's cool, Lauren. I can't wait to see the pictures. I'm really happy to hear that Raw was getting the attention that it deserves. I love that ink. I love the quality of it. I love everything about it. I've switched everything over to it. And I can't thank you enough for all the help here. Jason, thank you for your help this morning with the technical issues. As always, man, thank you and Lauren both.
Yeah, I'll be sharing some more photos. I got to use a pretty great lens combination for the first time. The G Master 50 millimeter that I'll show you guys some pictures. It's cool when you have a lens that is easy to work with and produces great photos. So, yeah.
Sweet. Can't wait to see them.
Yeah, thank you everybody for joining today. Tech issues aside would basically just be connectivity. So I think we all can relate.
But thank you everybody for joining. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this. If you're watching it later, I hope you have as much joy and peace in your day as I do at this exact moment.